Penguin Random House Audio presents Climate. This is the author, Whitney Hanson. For those whose rain clouds feel too heavy to shoulder. Introduction. When I first published Climate, I was in a season of shedding my skin. I was feeling the aftershocks of loss and learning that change is both inevitable and deeply uncomfortable. Writing this book was a process of excavating my love for life and finding my way out of a storm. In preparation of publishing a new edition of Climate, I found myself faced with the task few writers want to face, rereading my previous work. It had been over a year since I revisited this book in its entirety, so I did what all the best, or maybe worst, writers do. I procrastinated. I stared at the copy of Climate on my bookshelf, and I deep-cleaned my kitchen, took a walk, scrolled on the internet. I did anything other than open this book. I told myself that I was avoiding it because I'm a changed person now. I told myself that I was running because I had outgrown the version of myself who wrote it. It turns out that as well as being a talented procrastinator, I can also be a talented liar. The honest reason for my avoidance was quite the opposite. What I was most afraid of was that time had passed and I hadn't changed. I was afraid that reopening this book would be like reopening an old wound. What if some part of me is still as lost as I was when I wrote these poems? I would like to say that I was wrong. I would like to say that I do not recognize myself in these pages. But saying that would void the integrity of this entire book. One of my key intentions with Climate was to remind myself that it is normal to cycle through various weather conditions. Meaning is derived from journeying through both the sun and the rain. As I write this introduction, I find myself once again in a season of great change and stormy weather. As I revisit these pages, I do see myself staring back at me. I have grown and changed, but life has a way of teaching us the same lessons over again in different ways. As difficult as it may be to look my past self in the eyes, there is something comforting in the way life parallels itself. There is solace in knowing I have been here before and the clouds eventually passed. So, as you find your way through this book, this is the message I hope to impart to you. Change is inevitable and deeply uncomfortable. But instead of fighting the change, I hope you allow yourself to feel it all. Learn the same lessons over and over if you need to. Let go and let go and let go until you really do. Storms tend to find their way of coming back around, but eventually, so too must the sun. So too must the sun. Stormy. You did not cause this storm. The storm was always inside me. You just set it loose. Probably friends. Possibly lovers, but definitely not nothing. Those were the three thoughts in my mind the first time your path crossed mine when I saw those eyes for the first time. Then I learned your favorite color, realized how easily you paint a smile across my serious disposition. I started practicing learning you, thinking about you a little too much in my spare time. Then the three thoughts changed. Probably lovers, possibly friends, but definitely not nothing. Then things began to change. I realized the love only went one way. I started anticipating the feeling of you pulling away. Your sentences became shorter as my grip became stronger on the love that was falling from my fingertips. You took my smile as easily as you had given it. The three thoughts chimed one more time. Probably nothing. Possibly friends, but definitely not lovers. I wasn't happy, but I was with you. And truthfully, happiness was the least of the things I would sacrifice to love you. I know that I'm supposed to put myself first, but I was putting myself first, because what I wanted more than anything was to be yours. What if you thought they were everything? What if it felt like the galaxies had whispered your names in the same breath? What if they became your person? What if they learned every bit of you, and you learned every little piece of them? What if they became all your future plans? And what if it ends? Tell me, what then? Even after you broke my heart, you tried to make me smile and laugh. You hated to see me hurt. That is the most devastating kind of heartbreak, the kind where you both still care. There is a part of me that will always be yours. One of the scariest feelings is watching a person outgrow you, as if you are an old pair of shoes that they wore a bit too long. You're stuck in what once was and they're ready to move on. Slowly, the person you met only exists inside your head. You can't help fighting for a love that has long been pronounced dead. Love requires that we grow together, you along with me. But truth be told, sometimes in love, you begin to grow separately. I always leave the party early. Just to hear someone ask me to stay, I always leave love early so that I can hear the same. Truthfully, I crave a love who doesn't play my game and notices my presence before I've walked away. I think when the universe rolled the dice, it put your name on one side and put mine on the other. And though the dice could roll 100,000 times, your name will never end up landing next to mine. Cruel game. Hand-holding is a mutual activity. No matter how tightly you grasp, there will always be something you lack if they do not hold you back. I never wanted to be your first choice. Being your first choice implies that there is a second choice. I wanted to be your only choice. For once, I wanted someone to be so sure of me that everything else disappears. It costs me so much more than my love to love you. They don't see it all. The people who are telling you to let it go. All they see is the destruction of a broken relationship. They see the tears and fights and frustration. They see all the ugly, broken parts. They see what is left. They don't see how the ruins were once a castle. The rubble was once a masterpiece. This love wasn't always so broken. It's easy to tell you to walk away when they can't see all you're walking away from. I didn't know it was possible to suffer the weight of forever in a moment, but that was how it felt looking at you for the last time. The worst of it all is that I understand exactly why you had to go. The worst of it all is that I can never feel my pain without feeling yours first. The worst of it all is that I can't hate you because I know every reason you did what you did. The worst of it all is that I can't be angry because my anger is always accompanied by guilt. I'm so tired of being wise. Sometimes I just want to be hurt. They told me my job description, but I think I've got it wrong. They said I was supposed to man the lighthouse and save lost ships from going down. but every time I saw the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?